Hi, YouTube. I hope you're all doing good. I am doing okay, not too bad. I spent a lot of, oh, actually, I think probably a couple of hours on video chat with a granddaughter, and she had made cornbread, and then we just swung it, didn't use a recipe, and she made a loaf of bread for her family for supper. So it was the weirdest thing, though, and I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. Talk about like gang stalking, demonic connections, this type of thing. Hold it a sec. So my granddaughter asked me, with her dad having been a wife and child beater, why would I have ever put my kids in martial arts? I didn't. Their dad did that after the courts gave him, they lied about me, and my kids lied to go be with their dad, and ended up doing all kinds of things that kids should never be around. And then he took them to classes and taught them how to kill, and then sent them back to me when he couldn't handle them. So no, I never put my kids in martial arts. They were forbidden to even fight in our home. But when they came back as teenagers and strong men, they tried to use their martial artist skills on me. Luckily, I had taken classes when I was a young teenager and could combat my way away from brutal men, you know. So, and to me, they were taught those skills to try and take me out. But let me give you a little bit of evidence on top of that, you know, because now keep in mind, my grandchild knows that her grandfather, my ex, was a very violent and disturbed individual, that he's insane, to put it mildly. And he taught his sons to be insane, to try and kill me because I kicked him out. He's more than a narcissist. He's a raving lunatic psychopath that has never really gotten caught for any of his crimes, because he's that well, he evidently thinks that Satan's going to take care of him. And from what I can see, if well, that being his master has actually worked out well for them. Well, so I'm baking bread with my granddaughter, and she has like met her grandpa maybe once or twice in her whole life, and we're talking and seeing each other, and she's using her mom's phone, and out of the blue, my ex calls. My granddaughter freaks out. We were just talking about my ex and her father being violent men that were wife and children beaters. When Doug met me, I had two black eyes. Um, so he knows. I mean, he just knows anyway because he knows this person. But yeah, so the demonic forces are so connected. I won't let my youngest son come and stay here because he's the same type of man. They're totally self-serving, um, more than bullies. It's evil. It's demonic. So I'm having a nice, enjoyable moment with my granddaughter. Well, time, and the phone rings, and it's my ex, who has I haven't talked to for 20 years. But we were just talking about him and our oldest son, and the phone rings, and then the phone rings again, And we think it was my older son, my granddaughter's dad, calling right when we were talking about these people. Tell me that Satan doesn't use his powers of observation, of using his minions to disturb people's lives. These people want me dead. Maybe not my son so much as the father does, but he has instilled that in my sons too. Because why? Because I'm not vile and nasty, oversex, deviant minded, or a pedophile. Pick one. Or incestuous, like they all were. So just pick one reason why these people might hate me. And there's a few right there, you know. So just, it's not even freaky. My granddaughter freaked out at the it isn't a coincidence type of thing, but I wasn't one bit surprised, actually, you know. So, yeah, why would I put them in martial arts? And I wouldn't put my kids in classes and teach them how to kill somebody, you know. It wasn't until they had already taken their martial arts that I started showing them some of my judo moves. Before that, they didn't know any of that from me, not one bit of it. It wasn't until I had to really combat for myself against tri state champions in Taekwondo. But my judo skills did win and probably saved my much smaller bones from being broken by these demonically possessed, jealousy and psychopathic directed minds in their soulless bodies. So, and they are disconnected from their souls. Don't make a mistake that thinking that some kind of God is in these people's hearts that can be reached. I've made that mistake in the past, and it has cost me physically and emotionally, and um, it could change, but I'm not going to stake my physical health, emotionally or physically. I'm not going to allow this type of person to get close to me because I can't afford it. And besides that, I deserve peace in my life for once because I grew up around the same type of turmoil. And it's just like there's a meme that goes around, and there was two sons that watched the father drink, and one became an alcoholic and the other didn't become an alcoholic. And they asked them, why did you become an alcoholic? And the kid said, because I watched my father drink. They asked the other one, why didn't you become an alcoholic? And he said, because I watched my father drink. And it was those, because I watched them do that type of thing, that made me who I am today, not wanting to be like that. And that's why I separated myself from the father of my children and went and got a legal separation after I kicked him out, and then moved in with some friends that would physically defend me, people around me that knew the danger I had been in and my kids had been in before. So I had actual forces, and still do, around me, of protection in that respect. So, um, hopefully that won't ever be needed, but I don't trust anybody like that. It goes beyond mentally ill. I used to think that it was just maybe some chemical imbalance or brain damage from being hit, which could be. There is studies that kind of indicate that people that have like brain injuries and different different things happen to them in their lives that it can work as a what would the be like a catalyst to evil, you know. So I'm not saying everybody that has a brain injury is going to become psychopathic, but there seems to be an indication that could be the case. And it could be a lot of the time maybe chemical imbalanced or chemically induced, which I think has a lot to do with what a lot of this on the planet, excuse me, what's going on in the world, with people with their alcohol and drug abuse, you know. So, yeah, I'm sure it plays a large part in everything because even if a person didn't like another person, there wouldn't be a reason why they would get violent or actually try to take that person's life. And those type of people that just can snap and turn on a second, they can act the most loving or the most vile. They're very dangerous to be around. And because they think we're stupid, they think we're weak because we were so loving and kind when they actually didn't mean anything they were saying. They weren't serious about the I love you. That wasn't real because of the vileness that they could display, even within like a breakup or something. The way these people can turn, like, you see who how they actually always felt about you, like you're stupid, you know. And my granddaughter said she had asked her dad what parent he preferred, that you'd have to have a favorite, and he picked his dad. And I'm sure that my youngest one would too. Well, they're a lot like him. Why wouldn't they? You know? So she said she felt bad for me because she can't imagine what it's like, not just one son, but two of them being like that. And I told her to thank you, but I am blessed with my granddaughters because they're not like that, you know. And even the oldest one, what she's accomplished by now, she's 15, and her aspirations and sensibilities and different things that she has going for her, you know. So anyway, doing a lot of things in life kind of similar but more intelligently than I was able to. She has a mom that's standing behind her, um, to help her in life, which is something that's a good thing if you can have that. I didn't have things like that. So the things that I wanted to achieve in my life were a lot harder to even understand how I could ever do anything if you if you knew how people wanted me to fail right right out of the gate. you know. I mean, I'm talking people that would hand me books upside down, um, try and teach me math wrong when I was being taught a different way. And I mean, I'm talking, this is absolutely real. The nightmarish, hellish, devilish stuff that was done to me. I mean, yeah, physically and emotionally, and some really weird shit too, like um, tormenting and what would the word be? Um, guess I can't even think of what the word is when you torture people. Lots of torture. And I used to think, well, geez, with the kids' dad, to try and work things out with God in our heart is the best, that's the best plan, the best scenario to stay behind somebody to try and get them help and work with them and do things like that, do things what I consider to be the right and sensible way in life. That almost cost me my life. And if they had their way, it would cost me my life. So the moral of the story is when you have people that wouldn't think twice about having a hand in taking your life, it is a dangerous thing to be around, you and they will use other people. And like I told my granddaughter, I said, my ex wants me dead. And he tried to use my children to do it. And he still wants me dead. It's not, I mean, my daughter-in-law never talks to this person. He was told never to call there again. This was a long time ago. And he's not welcome in their lives. But yet I'm baking bread with my granddaughter, and this creature calls out of the blue to see how they're doing. You know, people say, some people say there aren't anything as coincidences, and I'm prone to go along with that because this is the type of thing that I know is true. I'm battling the demonic forces through people that can get close enough to me to let it have an effect. And the closer I let them get, the worse it would get. And I'm not that stupid. I have been stupid, but I didn't know any better. When you don't know what they're doing to you, you know? But once you realize what the personality traits are of the dark triads, the psychopaths, the not always schizophrenia doesn't always include violence, but psychotic, narcissistic type personalities, unless they're what they're called, um, well, like a borderline or not a full blown narcissist. It has traits, but wouldn't be considered in the dark triad, you know, like somebody that would be capable of taking another person's life with that lack of concern for another human being. And that's what I was trying to protect my children from. And now, even the threat is towards my grandchildren, too, and all girls, you know. And these are men that have no problem with sin in their life. That the word sin probably doesn't really even occur to them unless they're making a joke out of it or putting down somebody else or trying to find fault in somebody where there isn't any, you know. I had my youngest son tell me, whether he was drunk or not, but he wrote, when I told him he couldn't come here, he wrote to me that you ain't shit and you'll never be shit, he said. Well, so be it. I guess I won't be shit all by myself, but I'll tell that what it's not going to stop me from communicating with the people that do love me and find value in my ethics and my moral standings. And they have God in their heart. Those same type of people, they're the ones that I respect. I respect your opinion over somebody that is my blood that says, I love you, mom, when they want something, you know. But unfortunately, what my kid wants out of me, I'm not willing to give. And that's a lack of respect and a roof over his head, in that order. It's like I said, this has almost cost me my life before. It's a dangerous situation that I put myself in by giving my heart and my love, my kindness to the wrong people, you know. And it has, like I said, because I didn't know any better, almost cost me my life in the past, you know. So, and it's no joke. If you've seen it, you would think, you might see something like it in the movie that would look like a horror movie, those type of things. But yeah, not cool. So I'm talking straight up demonic shit. Here's me in the ether talking to my granddaughter and tries to interrupt that because I have been battling these people. Um, and the dark cabal has for a very long time used my children against me. They've actually gone to court and had a restraining order overturned so they could take my children out of this home and do and say anything they want with them. So I've been battling this shit for close to 40 years. Well, actually, more than that. Long time actually. I started when I was 12, standing up for what was right in this world, you know. And that's why I am so against men competing in women's sports, pretending they're women to be able to do that. I am. And so it's just like my granddaughter's tall, and even taller women than her will say, well, women empowerment and we're just as strong as men. And keep in mind, my granddaughter's like 6 feet tall. She's taller than me. And she had a boyfriend when they were like 12 years old. They were like wrestling or whatever. And he was much smaller. And he whomped her butt. Why? Because he was a boy and she was a girl. That's why. And that physical difference and that endurance and the thickness of the skin and the bones and the bone structure and the muscle structure, everything on a woman is different versus a man. Yeah, even our pelvises, the way our arms set in our shoulder blades is different. Yes, a lot of things are. Even our stomachs, the room that we have for a womb that men don't have, we have physical differences. So, and I'm speaking about the dangers of making competition towards women seem like a natural thing with these men because it's not. And the pedophile, bisexual, incestuous nature of, even in these people's minds, the people out in this world that are acceptable of like talking filthy in front of your mother or your kids or other people's kids or whoever and whatever. I mean, the amount of the filth in the minds of the people that and what they say and do around children. I shouldn't be shocked. You'd think after growing up around all that I wouldn't be shocked, but it still disturbs me, you know. Yeah, if I get cut off, I love you all, and no, they're not going to stop me or shut me up, and nothing ever changes. Satan will always use, or maybe not, maybe someday it will end, but all of my life so far, it's only people I let get close to me that he can use. And if they can get away with it being physical or make it appear like I started something or something, I mean, funky shit is funky and you have to be careful and protect yourself at all times because that's how funky rolls with the funk, you know, in a big way. So, yeah. And they'll say or do anything. That's what I've found. So don't be shocked. I mean, the one who is shocked is telling you, don't be shocked. Well, what else are we supposed to be? How are we supposed to react when we're not them and we're not like that? You know. So yeah, we do have each other to talk to out here. That's true. You know. So back to something more pleasant, I asked my grandkid if she could shoot me a picture of that bread after it was through rising. And the nice thing is um, my daughter-in-law wasn't, well, she was taking a nap because she had been up all night with her youngest not feeling well. So she needed a rest. So her oldest daughter took the initiative to make supper and bake and clean things up, and just remarkable young lady she is turning into. Pretty cool. You know, without asking a teenager. And that's how I was. When you don't have to ask your teen and they just make your life more beautiful than not, that's my blood. That's how I was. You know, I think my ex was sort of like that with his mother, and I think he held a certain amount of respect for his mom because he might be the only woman and family member that he didn't put his erection in. And I just said it, there you go. Not that he didn't want to, you know. And I'm not lying to you. What I'm saying is true. So, and even if you're listening to me, X, yeah, what happened to you before will happen to you again, worse. Just keep your distance. And furthermore, pray for yourself and your sons because you will pay for the hell you put your children through. So that's a fact. And I'll see to that. I'm not personally going to do nothing, but God might let me someday. But um, I already busted your leg and kicked your filthy ass out of my house. So you could lie to get our kids. That's all you can do. So there you go, thief. Still got my stuff too. I really would like my savings that I had, my IRA, and my children's pictures and all the jewelry that you stole of mine and the rest of the stuff you took out of my house. But, you know, all the, you know, some childhood things I had, things that didn't belong to you at all, you know. So, anyway, but people will pay for the things they've done in life, you know, and you know why? the courts, this is the only reason the courts got involved, is because my youngest son tried to burn down the house when I was working out in the yard, and I was working like rotating shifts as a dealer in the casino. And I mean, taking care of my kids. I couldn't find a babysitter. So I went and got some public assistance and filed for child support after 5 years getting help with my kids. It's the first time I even asked this thing for anything. They went to court as a couple, her being from a little bit of money that her father had left her. Same name as me. So Barb and Dipshit go and get a really good attorney because her brother was one too, and took my kids away from me on a bunch of lies. And that was the only premise that they could use, spreading lies about me to take my children into hell and teach them how to be demonic. And that's what happened to me. And I almost had a nervous breakdown, but I didn't. I made it through, and here I am. And good thing I stayed stable because they couldn't handle my children and ended up bringing them back. So there it is. And like usual, just speak my mind, what's on my mind for my friends. And I know a lot of you are going through some of the same and have been through some of the same. Parents, kids, brothers, sisters, cousins, all the weirdos out there. Stay cool, my friends. I love you. You're the ones that matter out in this world. So, and we'll meet someday too. I love y'all. Thank you for joining me from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Peace and love, y'all.